Welcome everybody. This is a meeting of the capital planning. We do have a forum and it gives you a second. I will bring the agenda up. Can you please, give me control of the screen?
All right, they can see you and everything. Let me just.
Oh,
All right, you should be good.
First of all, I'd like to introduce that we do have a new member. He is joining us remotely. He is a member, a voting member of the Capital Planning Group. He is a representative of the liaison from the planning board. And I see that he is on the screen. Rob, would you like to wave, say hello, introduce yourself?
Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me aboard. Do my best, whatever assistance I can provide. You got my full cooperation and attention. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. As I said to you, as you were coming on board, this is our final meeting. We are due to present this to the selectmen tonight. Then we'll review it with the selectmen on their meeting. So we have a joint meeting with them next Tuesday. You can be present. You don't have to be present. I can select them. It's up to you if you want to come. It doesn't hurt by any means to come. Because they might have specific questions, but we came to this as a group, so it's up to you. You can join by phone, whatever. But we're pretty unanimous on how we felt about most of the things. But we're going to do one final review tonight because there's few little factors that are going into it. And then by the end of the tonight, from the long pile that we just started 5-6 weeks ago, I think we have pretty much gotten down to where we need to be. So let's start off the meeting with the roll call vote of members.
Chris Novsella.
Carolyn Mazikas. Rob.
Robert Therian.
And Teresa A. Moss present. So we do have a quorum. Also, I sent them out to you. If you don't have them, Rob, I'll resend them, but I'll make sure you have them. You can abstain or you can just trust the minutes. You have the option to vote either way. You don't have to vote. But the minutes from the February 14th meeting is there. And I'd like a motion to accept the minutes from the February 14th meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of February 14th meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Since we have a member on Zoom, we have to do a roll call vote.
Chris Novsella.
Carolyn Mazikas, yes.
Yes.
Rob, do you want to abstain or do you want to accept the minutes?
I don't think you can
I'll
vote.
abstain. I wasn't present, so I'll abstain. Thank you.
Acceptable. And Teresa A. Morse will accept. On a minute. I do need to announce that the meeting is being recorded. You also want to announce that Mark is not with us this evening. He is not feeling well, and I do wish us to send out best wishes to him that he gets well soon. He is very sick, but nothing that we just don't sending him our best wishes that he gets well soon. Are there any additions or deletions that anybody would like to add to the meeting?
Just for myself, I really would like to be at the meeting next Tuesday, but
Okay.
it's scheduled. Unfortunately, the Board of Health has a meeting. We have a public hearing, so I really wish I could be there.
Okay, if you have anything specifically you'd like to talk about and you want to send somebody in your place, or you want to just give me that information, I certainly would carry it forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we know what time we're scheduled?
It's the regular selectmen's
But
meeting.
we don't have it, we don't, not sure where we're falling.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. The FinCom's meeting at 4, and then we're coming in for selectmen's meetings, correct? Okay.
And then, the meeting following that, it's the FinCom, the capital committee, all the department heads on that Saturday meeting.
Oh,
where we
really?
can go-
Yeah.
11th, I'm not available.
Look together, and that's at like 8:45. I will be there in suitcases with my hand, because I'm not over by noon. I'm running out, I'm catching a plane to Florida that day.
Good meeting.
So, I told them I couldn't.
What time
make
is
it.
that meeting start?
8:45. I was told I couldn't make it, and they said, no, that's early enough, you can.
Oh,
So,
gee.
Is it here?
yeah, it is.
See what I can do for that one. That's the 11th.
So, they will, be. So, let's review, we're now going to review, hopefully I can bring it up, we're now going to review all the capital requests that are out there. And try to see if we are all on the same page
Capital planning meeting at 8.
on where we are.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna add this to the spreadsheet. I haven't had it in the spreadsheet, but for the water department, we have 2 requests, the sharing, am I? Yeah.
You said you don't have that on a spreadsheet?
That's not on the spreadsheet that I sent out to everybody, but I am adding it, so it will be on the spreadsheet that goes to the selectmen.
Yeah, read it.
But it wasn't on the original select, sheet, because I couldn't, figure out how to. Holly, can I use that
Oh, we
screen
put $7
sharing?
million in that?
That's, yeah.
Madam Chairman,
That's good.
Under Teresa Morse?
Madam Chairman,
Yeah,
I'll need your assistance in helping me with some of this stuff, but, I did want to bring up, and I don't know if it's appropriate to bring it up now or whatever, but one of the requests that I'd like to see if we can, get some funding for regarding the planning board, particularly. We had a lot of site plans that are being prepared by,
Too late for that.
surveyors and consultants. The town does not have a town engineer. So it was brought to my attention at the last planning board meeting, if it would be possible to maybe approach other communities, like maybe Shirley and Townsend or whatever, and have a town engineer representing several communities to pay for the engineer. So I'm not sure if everybody understands what I'm talking about, but what we have is we have a lot of site plans that are prepared by civil engineers and surveyors. And of course, their objective is to accommodate their clients' needs. And a lot of stuff is going on now with some more sophisticated planning for the town of Townsend. And it involves other communities like Groton and Pepperell and Lunenburg. And the problem here is that we're dealing with projects currently right now. And we don't have a town engineer that can advise us what some of these projects would do and how they would interface with some of the long-term planning that's going on. So I was wondering if we can consider some kind of appropriation, except I don't have a number for that, so that we can have a shared town engineer, maybe with several communities. Unfortunately, I don't have any information on that yet because it just surfaced last week.
Okay, so that wouldn't necessarily fall under capital planning. That would be something that would fall under you're looking for personnel, shared personnel. Eric is on the line. I would definitely say it would be something that you could speak with, get some general ideas on how you could work across communities to share resources across the communities. Eric, can you give him a little more guidance on that? But that would not fall under capital planning. Capital planning is more for a 5-year plan for how we're going to rotate vehicles, how we're going to rotate plans for buildings, et cetera.
If I may, Madam Chair, Bob, if you can see me and Jerry Lynn have both served on planning for quite a few years. The amount of time that, I did 6 years, I think. I did 6 years and Jerry did probably 20. At least it seems that way. The amount of time that we hired an engineer to do work for the town doesn't seem to me to be feasible for that purpose. If you did it a lot, like twice, 3 times a year, maybe, but in 6 years, twice, I don't really see a need for it, but you can maybe do a warrant, have your board do a warrant and submit it to maybe next year's budget and see if you can get it through town meeting if you wanted to go that route, but that doesn't really qualify for capital planning. And you missed your deadline on it anyway.
Right. Well,
Madam Chair, if I could just throw in something real quick.
Yes.
So we're always, looking for opportunities to do shared services. However, I think for something like this, it's probably more appropriate for the planning board to use the specific statute that allows us to go out and get a third party, a peer review. If it's something that staff can't handle, we can require an applicant to pay for us to go get a third party peer review. And that way it wouldn't be putting the burden on the taxpayers to pay for an engineer for complicated plans. We just have the applicant have to pay for our hiring of an engineer. That being said, I'd love to have a town engineer. And I could certainly look into other towns and how they handle it, or whether they feel like they have some capacity. We could pay, a per diem to a town engineer, but I think really at the end of the day, that's probably more appropriate for the peer review. But as everybody said, it's definitely not a capital planning issue.
all right, I'll meet with you, Eric, and we'll see what alternatives we have.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
So back to the worksheet that we're going to be handing over to the selectmen at the end of this evening if we're in agreement on it. Okay. It's going to look like this since I don't have an Excel spreadsheet for the fire. For the water. I'm just going to, if you can look up on the board, I'm just going to add.
He has that one.
I have one. Is the one you're looking for?
Do you have it? I was just going to do it like this.
Okay.
That's fine.
I was just going to add, and I have the original in the add-on. I was just going to put it in the workbook like this.
Okay.
So they have it, because we're not using those numbers to come up with the numbers that the town has to use anyway, so I don't have to manipulate the numbers.
Okay.
So as long as we have it in the book,
Oh,
I think it would be fine. if anybody doesn't have an objection, I can take the clean sheet and compose those numbers, but I think it's fine to do it this way. Okay. So the next one I want to talk about is the fire department. They are talking about they asked about replacing engine 3 this year. They need permission to replace that engine before we even get to, vote on that at, town warrant. So they need basically to know, did we approve it, did the selectmen approve it,
Right.
and did it make the warrant? If it makes the warrant, they would like permission to go ahead and purchase it, and knowing it's gonna take 3 or 4 years to get there, and if it gets rejected on the warrant, then they would purchase it on a 90-day cancellation. There's no,
No holding cost.
no penalty for canceling. So
Yeah.
this way they can order it. The reason they're asking permission to do that, they received a letter, I didn't put the letter in the package, but they did receive the letter that this 785 price is only good until, basically the, middle of April.
Yeah.
After that, it is another $85,000 increase.
Per year. Probably.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
so, and we don't know, it seems like they're not even going up, per year.
Yeah.
One good thing along with this, though, if we do get it, do approve this, which I am recommending that we do approve this. If we do approve this on a 20-year bond, and we don't have to start that bond until probably 2017. We could look around when's the best time to start that bond. I did find out the way, the bonds work. We can do-
2027?
Yeah.
Right, because you would do it, what we did for the first fire engine, we started the bond, it's a 20-year bond. We started it this year just because we had the money and we could just spread it off. We could technically start the fire engine next year, but technically we could pull it out like, to right when we got it, which we don't think we're gonna get it till like 2027. But if we have the money right now, we don't have a lot of money. So if you look up at the screen, there's thoughts that we should be starting these bonds now and just start paying them off. The problem starts in around 2027, because if we're looking at replacing and getting a highway up to department, like if we do all these things that everybody needs, then we're really gonna seriously have to look at this, like, are we gonna be able to replace highway trucks every 2 years or whatever? 2007, we are not gonna have, $2,006 in cash. I just think this is a pretty high bond ceiling. I don't know if that's paid out of free cash, et cetera, but at one point, we're gonna get pretty high, on our bonds if we do this method. But we eventually have to replace these things. So I don't know when it's gonna be best to hurt, and just get the hurt done all at once, or plan for the hurt and spread the hurt over multiple years. Eric, you're on the line, right?
Yes, I'm here.
What I'm showing here, I'm showing 15-year bonds on the fire trucks and 10-year bonds on the dump trucks with the sanders and plows. And showing that, at the worst, that comes up with multiple years of $245,000 in bonds. Does that come out of free tax with how is that?
No. We pay our debt as part of the general. It comes out of the general fund as part of the budget.
General funds. And is that too high to a bond ceiling? Or is this a reasonable way to finally get us back up to speed on where we need to be? Or does it make sense to spread these out like 2 years in between each of the plows instead of a plow on top of a plow on top of a plow?
Well, I think so for purposes of the plow, that's kind of a smaller annual fee. I think it's really the fire trucks that are the ones that really whack our kind of our debt payments every year. So the plan that I am going to be floating is going to be we are actually seeing an excess in our ambulance receipts account. Currently, we have dedicated $100,000 a year from that ambulance receipts account that's going towards the ambulance lease that we have right now. That's a lease to own for our ambulance. I think we have one more year, I believe, of that lease to own before it's that amount comes off. At that time, I would propose that we dedicate $100,000 of the ambulance receipts to go towards offsetting the borrowing for the ambulance and the fire truck for the fire department. So that way we could lower the amount of debt for the town as a whole by using those specific proceeds to buy a new ambulance and to buy a new fire truck. But if we do that, then absorbing those into the kind of the debt budget won't be a problem come 2027. We have to start paying.
And that's what we're recommending. We figure the more we wait on the fire truck, if we wait 2 years, we're losing any time we wait because it's going to cost us more money than what we pay than for waiting. Additionally, there's some real belief behind the fire chief because so many fire trucks are on backtrack that if he does get this engine to relatively, I was going to say relatively, but that's not the right word. He will get much more than junk for it. People will buy it from him to use while they're waiting for their replacement. So he does feel that has some cash value that he can use also towards the replacement of this. So we are recommending a 20-year bond for the 785. We're recommending that to be approved for this year, and we're recommending the ambulance also for this year, and that to be paid for with ambulance receipts.
I think that's a good plan.
Okay. Moving on, the next one was facilities. They had a lot of different things that they had recommended this year. We had sort of broken out their items and really came back that the only one that we were recommending outright was the $10,000 for excuse me, the only thing that we were recommending outright was leasing a hybrid or electric truck.
Ooh.
So that we could get some funding back from that. And I had hear some groans on the things I'd like to hear.
Electric trucks, we don't have the facilities to charge those. Not right now. A hybrid that will take 2 different fuels. Yeah, electric, we don't have the facilities for that. It's gonna cost us how much to put in a electric charging station for it. And an electric pickup truck, right now, from all the stats,
Do we have
say
any
they aren't worth the money they cost.
vehicles built in the town? Is that like 10 years out, 5 years out, a year out, or not even under consideration?
Well, so we actually have the grant administrator while he was here actually had a couple of electric charging stations lined up, but we had was struggling to find locations for them. I think our plan right now is if we manage to go forward with our solar canopy plan, which I'm hopeful that we'll be able to start happening, being built this summer. Then we're going to set up those solar canopies to be able to have electric chargers installed in the solar canopies, and we're going to be looking for grants for those electric vehicle chargers this year. So that's something I feel is important. I do think that if you're looking at the difference between an electric truck for facilities and a hybrid truck for facilities, that's a plug-in hybrid that also can be used as a generator, I think the second one would be a kind of a more useful vehicle, because the hybrid pickup trucks right now, most of them have the capability to have that hybrid engine turn into a generator if necessary. So that would be the kind of thing that facilities would be able to have a truck that could, in an emergency, operate as a generator for an outlying site without having to tow a new generator there. In addition, because it's also a hybrid, you're also getting the benefit of a much higher gas mileage than you get off a conventional, diesel or gasoline engine. So that would be my suggestion, is that we attempt to get a hybrid
Okay.
pickup truck that's maybe even a plug-in hybrid pickup truck, but the one that has a conventional gas engine as well as the electric engine.
And we were thinking that we should look more at a lease as opposed to buying outright, just to spread payments out. But now things are spread out a little more. Maybe we'll go back to looking at purchasing outright. Let's see what we look like the money when we come to the end. He had,
It's $40,000. It's not huge money for a truck.
we'll take a look at that. The other one was
Can I-
2000.
Madam Chair, can I just say one more thing on that vehicle? I would say that of all of the capital requests that the board has gotten, this vehicle is the one that allows for a significant reduction in the actual general fund budget. Because if this vehicle is purchased, we would save, the amount of the stipend from the general fund budget, the amount of the vehicle stipend that we now pay the facilities manager. So that would be my request for this one, is it does have a material impact on the bottom line of the regular budget as well.
And the other thing we approved was flammable storage cabins for the town hall, and the only thing there was, I know now that we got our last swipe at opera funds, we saved a lot of opera funds because we weren't sure what it was gonna look like at this time, what monies we were gonna need. With this might be something the board would consider using opera funds on.
The final cabinets?
But we're just gonna leave it there for now, because we approved it, okay? Then what was on, if you go back to the original, request to what we recommended, replacement of walkways in the front of the town, we felt I felt, and this is what I'm recommending, and this is what we're discussing today, that the $12,000 that was supposedly going to take, I felt that should be part of the town operating budget.
Absolutely.
Okay. External repairs to the Memorial Hall, I also felt that really wasn't a capital expense. I felt that was part of the town operating budget. Something facilities under their operating budget, most likely.
It all really depends on, for those two things, it really depends on the scope. So if you look at the current facilities operating budget, and you guys probably don't have a copy of the current budget in front of you, but if you look at the current facilities operating budget, including all of the repairs, in order to accommodate requests like that into a single year, you'd have to double their kind of repair and maintenance line item for their budget, which they're right now that's not possible. There's not a in the general fund budget. There's simply not a. It doesn't mean there's not another place for it. Maybe it's a free cash allocation as opposed to a capital plan allocation. But
Not a capital expense. Let me, see if we can possibly pick this back up then.
I'm not saying that it needs to be picked back up. But I would defer to the committee on that. I'm saying as far as putting something of that magnitude into a budget, that we're right now we don't have that sort of play.
Current budget, okay, I see what you're saying. The other items that they had. The rec hall windows, the energy efficient heating system, the window replacement, the ceiling fans replacement in the library, the memorial hall windows, and the reprogramming of the light system and fan system in the library. We asked Green Energy to look at for that, and if Green Energy couldn't take care of that, we also thought maybe some of those could be taken with ARPA funds. We didn't know. The one thing for sure we were looking for to see if we could get ARPA to look at was the disposal of the old documents and preserve the library, to see if that could become an ARPA project.
How much money do you have left in ARPA?
It's not a set number. You make a recommendation and they tell you whether they'll give it to you or not.
Oh, okay. I thought we were sitting on like 25 million. Be like, yeah, let's get involved.
In addition, I would say that we have other opportunities for grants for the document retention, which I'm optimistic for. And I've talked to the chief about the same for the police department.
We're certainly not saying that the rec hall and the windows here at the memorial hall don't need to be done. We're just looking for it not to be done out of the town's free cash, and to see if we can find other grants and other ways to get it done. I just want to make that clear, because the budget is so tight. So that was facilities. We talked about fire.
No, we didn't really get to water. Actually, we get to highway next, I guess.
So we had highway.
There's Gunny.
Okay, so the original highway, they have a dump truck on order, and now they're asking for a pickup with plow, something with a camera,
Elwood camera.
and another plow. And then what they're asking for is they want to get into, where this ability to have a good system where they're replacing the truck every year.
Ooh,
I'm not sure that that's feasible, but that's what they presented to us, so that's what I showed on the bond, especially since the trucks, especially when you're pushing it with the plow, if you take out a 10-year bond, you might even be risking that it doesn't even outlast the bond. But anyways, that's what they're recommending. I think that's something we need to discuss. I think every other year is a better plan than every year replacement. But they didn't ask for one this year. They got one last year. So for this year, the recommended approval, they were recommending, a pickup with a plow. And they found, a dealer who is willing to sell them at least,
Hmm.
I thought the rate was high. It was like 6, 7, 8%, right?
I don't know what the rates are these days.
But they.
The rates are not great these days because the interest rates have been, the Fed's been driving up interest rates. So
Okay.
that's why we get a better deal if we buy it and then bond it and borrow it than if we lease it.
Okay.
That's why that's why we usually want to borrow, because our bonds are at much lower rates than you can get for a vehicle loan.
Yeah, because I got my car at 5 point something, and I think this was like almost 8. So I think we recommended lease, but I now I'm talking to you, that's probably not the right way to go. So we should go. He's thinking that pickup with the plow is gonna be 75. And what you're saying, Eric, it's best to purchase that and put it off the bond?
I just think for purposes of the rates,
Yeah.
it's more advantageous for the town to borrow it because we're going to get way better rates than if we lease it or borrow it from the dealer, unless they've got some special. I mean, we can always investigate if there's if there's some sort of deal that they have that they're offering on a vehicle, but generally speaking, these municipal vehicles are hard to come by and not on any kind of deal. They are challenging to find, and they're charging top dollar for them. So I wouldn't imagine we can get a better deal from a dealer than we can just get for borrowing ourselves.
I have a question. Are we replacing a truck or adding a truck?
Probably be replacing,
Probably
That's
replacing.
replacement.
yeah,
What was the answer?
replacing.
Okay.
Given the vintage of the vehicles down at the highway, I think everything we're doing for the next 5 or 6 years is going to be replacing.
Okay. Thank you.
So that is the total of everything that we are recommending.
So we're sticking with the 100,000 for highway. Okay. And
I'm gonna hide the originals.
we can't see what you're
See what
doing.
you're doing over there.
Oh, it's not up there?
No.
No,
Fine, I thought I was up here. Hold on.
that's okay. We actually have, we're making notes. Yeah, we're making notes on the printed copies. That's fine. So did we determine as far as the camera and the wing blade, how they gonna pay for that one, or since we're gonna bond out the truck? It's 15 and 10, it's 25. How much do we have? How much?
That's what I'm getting to now.
Oh, we get 75 left. Okay, who else do we have left? Police,
So,
police don't need anything. You know, police doesn't need anything, that's it. If they just have,
Oh, they just got something.
that's the least that comes out.
for the
No worries. Yeah,
we had an outstanding question. We had, that they had $85,000 that they were recommending,
that comes out of their operating budget.
but, well, I put maybe part of the operating budget.
I think it always has come out of their
It's
budget.
always.
But I-
No, that $75,000 is not out of their operating budget. It was put into the operating budget. They showed it in the operating budget in last year's budget, because it was being paid for by, I think, free cash. They transferred free cash into the operating budget to offset the payment.
Well, why do we even have this committee if no one listens to us? I mean, if
yeah.
we're just gonna buy everything without us, why are we here?
So the two things that they have on their budget
Yeah, okay.
is a $85 that they continue paying lease, which is now on capital management, and the 35, but we are gonna recommend that this comes out of opera funds.
The 35 is gonna come over ARPA funds?
We're gonna recommend, I have no way to know if they're going to approve it, but that's for the record management project. We're hoping that they can put those two projects together, the library and the town project, and put those two, projects together.
You mean the library fan?
The library restoration and the, police
Remember the police
restoration.
records they
Yeah,
wanted to do?
yeah.
I think he said something, he was trying to get something for them,
Yeah, that's
wasn't he?
true, yeah.
Yeah, he was working on it,
Yeah.
a grant as well.
Yeah.
We wanted to say.
Do you wanna put that 35 under, ARPA funds also?
Yeah. Again,
Attempt to
we're gonna try
Yeah.
and see if we can.
How long are these ARPA funds available for?
It's just,
This is the last round and they're done March 24, 2024, right?
Oh, this is the last year? Do you think we can?
Eric?
No, so the ARPA funds we have to be allocated by December of 24 and spent by December of December of 26.
Oh, okay.
We're not getting any more money. We have it all already.
So we have to December 24 to get them allocated. I'm sorry.
Wow. And then what happens to those poor people we hired under ARPA money? Are they getting shit canned?
We're gonna try to gradually wean them off of ARPA as the years go by.
Weed them off. I think you said this is the last year of the money.
No,
Oh, yeah.
2020.
No, we have till 2026 to spend it.
Gotcha, okay. All right. I feel bad for the people if they have to get fired for no reason. Okay. Yeah, so we're good with that, right?
Me, let me just see, I just want to see where we are. That's the original one.
Louise, have you kept track of where we are as far as
As far as what?
what's left in capital? For money?
Okay,
Have you kept a running? Well, we've taken so much out. Do we know how much we have left in capital plan?
that's what I'm trying to do right
Okay.
now.
See, and you were taking it out, we're putting it back in. I'm not sure where we're standing.
Okay. So just let's go one quick run through again. And at this time, I'm going to do a running total.
Okay,
So I'm not going to include water.
okay,
And I'll exclude what we are going to hope gets picked up to top on opera, or do you want me to include that?
Let's start without it first and see what we got, if there's anything left or, and then we can,
but we have to start praying real quick.
Okay. So right now, we got highway at 100,000
yeah,
plus fire
sorry, Cal. Paolo, let me call you back. I'm in a meeting. It's the only ringtone I can hear in my phone. It's horrible.
Fire's gonna be 60,000, because this is the number here, but this is the ambulance receipt, and this is gonna be bonded, so it's gonna be about 60, so I'll put 75,000.
Okay.
Play it
Just to be safe.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to know how I'm making up the numbers.
Maybe we'll have to do this two ways, one without opera, one with opera.
That's what we're doing now. We're doing without APA right now.
Right now.
Facilities,
Well, we're 175. How much did we have? How much?
150.
So we're already over. Oh, okay.
Over.
Yeah, then I guess poor facilities ain't getting a pickup truck.
Oh, you said that.
62.
Well, let's try it the other way. Let's try hoping for opera. Let's see what we come up with.
I just, let me.
Okay.
6250.
Okay, and that's really all it is, right?
Hired police, what was for the police?
What?
How much was the police?
Oh, yeah.
So that was, would you say 60?
Fire was 60.
Fire was 60?
Highway was 100.
Facilities was the 75. and
Mhm.
Police was,
fire-
police was 100, because we said that the cars weren't in there, but they were.
So you were trying to do the records project out of ARPA funds and then vehicle lease. I thought a lot of that came out of their budget. I don't think, did you say 60,000, Eric? Come out of their budget for cars? Police?
No, we transferred money, $75,000 from free cash into their operating budget last year for the leases. So they don't have they have no capacity in their operating budget to pay for leases.
So they have
It's
it,
either gotta come from free cash or it's gotta come from capital.
so they have it listed as $85,000.
Yeah, the 75,000, they paid the extra out of their operating budget last year, between the 75 and what the actual cost was. So they could absorb, I mean, they absorbed $10,000 approximately.
But we have no plans to do that this year.
No, I mean, it's not in their operating budget to absorb $10,000 right now.
Oh. How many cars are they leasing for $75,000?
I think that's 2 cruisers. I think.
Hmm.
Okay, so, so this is the police, and this doesn't have their offer, records cleaning.
Right, that's just the cars.
This is fire, which we could hold off $75,000 of that till next year. We could not pay the bond. No, that's not true, because we already
No.
started paying a bond on that.
I think we're gonna leave that right.
But that bond that you already started paying this year, that doesn't come out of capital expense, right?
That's already in the debt. That's what we're already paying. The one from last year. You're just worried about new money now.
You make it sound so easy, Eric.
I know it's not easy.
So if we order the fire truck in 74 and don't start paying to next year, I don't have to put 75,000 in here.
Yeah,
Correct.
but it's gonna cost you more though if you're.
No.
No, we
no.
order it now,
Yeah,
but we're not getting it for 3 years.
you won't start
so we
paying the
don't
bond
have
for
to
3 years.
start paying it. So I'm gonna take 75 out of that, because we're not gonna start paying for that till next
Okay.
year. This
So we're not
is-
even going to borrow that money until
Yeah.
until
you actually-
2027 or something when we need it.
Right,
So we're not going to start paying it back yet.
Okay, this is highway, which is basically the new truck,
yeah,
and this is facilities, which is a new truck.
new truck in the
Yeah.
place.
Keep in mind though, those highway facilities are going to be borrowed over at least 5 years.
Sure.
So I would divide that by 5 and add 5% for taxes or for interest. I mean,
So don't put them in as we're gonna take out a bond against them instead of a lease.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
if we buy that highway truck for $75,000, we're going to bond it for 5 years, which means
Oh,
we're only going to pay $15,000 a year plus interest, which is going to be another 5%. So $17,000 a year for that truck.
5, 6 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, so the highway truck would be about 17. The facilities vehicle would be about 14.
Yeah. That's what they want every single year.
Right, yeah.
It's like, I don't know where we'll come up with that money.
They're all-
Highway
they're
department,
all leased.
yeah.
That's really the best way to do that, with them.
With those, yeah, they,
I mean, they're on the road, like we're on today.
24/7, yeah.
So
Can't wait to see how that
still
works.
getting everything that we want, but just spreading payments
Mhm.
over the years.
Yeah,
Okay, this year,
So far,
so far, not including things that we want to go to opera.
Right.
And I'll put opera
Okay.
underneath there in a minute. We are talking,
117, something.
131.
131.
It was still over.
what's your, no, wonder.
So at
You
least
said
we
150, I
stayed
think you said
within
130.
budget, right? You told us 150?
So it's 156, but it could be 150, I don't
Well,
know.
I think it was like 150 and 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. See, what else can we,
Well, hopefully.
Yeah,
now, is it, Erica, this is just me asking, is it worth keeping extra money in capital for next year? Or are you just gonna take
Yes.
it out, spend it somewhere else?
No. It's worth keeping extra money in there for next year.
All right, so.
Because obviously we're going to have to find some place to replace this money. And, we'll have free cash that we can put into regular stabilization or capital stabilization.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that we would, and some of this, we're going to be able to absorb without going into capital stabilization to pay for it.
Right.
So if if we have debt dropping off, say $50,000 in debt payments a year dropping off, we can just absorb an extra $50,000 a year in debt payments.
The police radios that they had for years or something that yeah, I don't know when that stopped. I know we stopped funding it last year, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
One year just runs into another.
Yeah. How long before we'd know about green energy, if they can find money for stuff? Any idea?
They've been working on it. There's definitely some new things that came out. There's a new thing that came out today. Matter of fact, I'm meeting about the cars. I don't know about the windows. I wasn't able to attend the last meeting. I had a different meeting, but I will follow up on them. But they're always coming out with items.
Yeah.
And that's just in my opinion, it's just something that, the money, they just rotate what they decide to spend money on it, so the
Mhm.
money's eventually gonna come.
Yeah.
And I just, good, it'd be nice to get new windows in here, but I don't think that it's, an urgent.
Yeah.
Off the sauce, I think.
Okay.
Any other concerns, recommendations?
Never.
Erica, do you have any concerns about? So I'm also gonna add the, 2 trucks that we had on here as also we're gonna bond those out. I won't put it out for the whole year, I'll just put it out for 2027, just so that, selectmen get a sense of what we're bonding. And those will be 5-year bonds, you said?
Eric,
Yep.
For the,
We,
for the highway truck and the facility truck, are those 5-year bond or they're 10-year bonds?
those are 5 years.
5
I don't think we could. I don't think you can legitimately put those kind of regular grade vehicles at more than a.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't borrow for more than what you say the functional life is. Remember, we had to vote at the last meeting about what the functional life is of vehicles, and I think we'd be stretching if we said their functional life is 10 years. I just don't know if they'd survive that long.
Once I clean up this spreadsheet, I'm gonna give them out for what the capital bond is, what we're gonna have on bond for the 5 years for the plan that we covered. I'm gonna basically put a cover letter on saying what we recommended, that it comes to just under what we have, what we're allowed for, what we didn't cover, and how we're hoping to cover, including copper and green energy, and what we're sending to bond, and I'll give them this spreadsheet. And I'll get that out tonight to them, and I'll CC you all on them.
excellent. Sounds good to me. Very good job. Madam
Thank you
Chair.
guys for all your hard work. We really appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
You guys have a great evening.
All right, thank you, you too.
Thank you, Eric.
If
bye
we're-
now.
If we're all in
We need to
agreement,
make a motion.
I will make a motion to adjourn at 6 o'clock.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Oh,
Aye.
we need to do a roll call. Teresa Marsh, yes?
Joan, yes?
Chris Nosola, yes.
Robert Theron here.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
get-
thanks, everybody.